So you mentioned something earlier, so I want to kind of pull that back out.
Okay.
You talk about Asha, your spouse. You said in years past,
yes,
she's come with you to homecoming. Me and Lauren had this conversation recently. You know, I said, homecoming is yours. You can do that. I'll come if you want to come. How do you navigate bringing your spouse to homecoming? Like, is it a thing? Like, do you want the freedom? Do you want her to be there? I went to PWI, Lauren went to Clark.
Yeah.
Y'all had a different dynamic. She went to Clark. You went to Morehouse, so there was some intermingling. So what does that look like for you?
So in the beginning, it was always interesting because Ash would go to homecoming with me and wouldn't even go to Clark's homecoming. So that was always interesting. I'm like, go to your homecoming. So the years that they were happening on the same day, her and Charmaine, we used to walk over there and we would separate like that.
Yeah.
I think for a while, I never thought twice about it because of that dynamic. Like, yeah, my wife is with me, but at the same time, I ain't no trifling nigga.
Yeah.
So it's not like I was looking to hide anything. Like she couldn't come. Like, you know what I'm saying? That I think it'd be different if I went to like a FAMU and she went to, Clark or something like that. And I still don't know that my feelings would change. I think the dynamics will be intensified. What I mean by intensified is that Asha was in the AUC, but she was very much so a Clark Atlanta student.
Yeah.
She didn't do a whole lot of intermingling. And when she did, it was for a specific reason. Like, we met in gospel choir, right? So that was an AUC choir.
Yeah.
But she wasn't just like chilling on Morehouse camp. When she was coming to see me. And I think she did tell me a couple of times she was like talking to one dude at Morehouse before me or something like that. So she was like, so not to say that she did, but she wasn't one of the Clark students who was like over here, right? Or over there. So I say that to say, while she was always with me, I did feel I don't want to say guilt, but because she, like I said, she didn't do a lot of intermingling with Spelman and Morehouse. So when friends walk up on me, even if it was guys like, oh my God, John, what up? We started dating in college, but she knew our close friend group.
Yeah.
Not the people I sat with the cafe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like I was hiding them people, but it's just like we weren't like super close friends. Like John Campbell, for example.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't really get to know John Campbell for real until after we graduated. But I was like, and I think she had knew of John Campbell, but kind of like in passing. And that's and let's just say, like, John Campbell is a special case because we became much closer. I ain't gonna say much closer. We maintained our friendship post college.
Yeah.
Other friends who she may have met, just by virtue of me being on campus, we didn't maintain the same level of friendship, but we may still be connected on social. We may have each other's number from 15 years ago, right? And we may check in once a year. So she'd be like, oh, who is that? I'd be like, well, that's my homie from, we was political science majors together, or we did this, or, and then when it comes to the women that I knew, right? Who is that? I'd be like, well, that's actually an ex. You know what I'm saying? Or I had to be honest, everybody, people know that I had my baby out of wedlock, so that also meant that I must have been doing some other things before Asher. So I'll be transparent. So it might not be an ex, it might just been a buddy. B-U-D-D-Y. And those are even more awkward because there's no feelings there, but we know each other. Yeah. And you get the little hug, and it's like, yeah, that was my friend, such and such. Ash be like, oh, your friend. I'd be like, that was my friend. You know what I'm saying? But it's all these explanations. And then sometimes you get into deep conversations, reminiscing, and she's just kind of standing to the side looking. Because she didn't have that experience. So sometimes I felt guilt because she looked awkward. And I would welcome her into the conversation. But also, Ash is also she's a deeper introvert than you are, Brian. So Ash ain't finna just jump into the conversation. And then it becomes even more awkward when some of my friends have gotten married and their wives are super talkative and they be like, going anywhere, Ash. And she'd be like, save me. And I'd be like, but I'm talking to the husband. So we like vibing. And I'm like, I don't really want to save you because like I'm enjoying my conversation. Yeah. Right. So it's always been an interesting dynamic because, like I said, Asha is an HBCU student. So the hugs and stuff, she don't have a problem. She gets it because that's a part of the culture. And they're never inappropriate. It's just a lot of hugging. It's a lot of handshaking. It's a lot of screaming. It's a lot of hollering. There's a lot of pictures. But because she wasn't engrossed in like Morehouse and Spelman like that, she'd be the one that be asking her, can you take a picture? Like, people want to take a picture of me, and they be asking my wife to take a picture of me with them.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? It's awkward feeling.
And it's awkward because they didn't know her, and like they're not like a long-term deep friend. They're not looking for a picture of all three of us. They should be like, can you take a picture with Jack?
Yeah.
So it's like navigating, unless, like I said, it's one of the homies who got married and we went to their wedding. So we may not be like a friend group, but so we all take a picture for them together. But so it's just navigating those spaces. But I think what makes it helpful is that Ashley went to HBCU, so there aren't any insecurities around it. This year, I will say I'm looking forward to going without her, not because again there's anything to hide, but for every reason that I just said before. I don't have to do I don't have to have the guilt of being like, are you, because Ashley know me, when she in places where I know more people than she do, I always say, you good, you straight, and I'm, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to do that, and I could just enjoy homecoming without kind of being, host on the side, and then still trying to navigate, enjoying everything that comes with homecoming. So again, she's not unwelcome, but I do think this year is going to have a different experience because of just that dynamic.
But I feel like as a person who's been the spouse in that situation, like as the spouse, one, you got to be secure because you don't know what these relationships are, right? You don't know what things are because people have enjoyed themselves in college, right?
We had lives in college,
but also you have to be cool to be like, nah, because I wouldn't want her to have to feel like she has to babysit. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want her to feel like she has to like worry about my am I having fun? Am I having a good time? Or feeling like you're leaving me behind. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I usually choose not to go, because it's like I want you to enjoy your time. Or what's going to happen too is you have your line sisters, you have your you have your former roommates, you have all these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're worried about me, then you're not being able to be to enjoy these people fully. You know what I'm saying? And these are people who you see me every day. We hang out all the time. You see some of these people like once a year. This may be the only time you see these people. And mind you, a lot of her sorority sisters and like friends live in Atlanta. Like live here. You know what I'm saying? So these are opportunities. I feel like knowing how Atlanta operates, like you may only see them once. So you might as well go spend some time with your friends and be engaged and not worry about me enjoying my, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying too, because Asha is an introvert. Like the conversation ain't a, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Some of those are, because you see the classmate be like, hey, what up, bro? You shake their hand. Or what up, sis? Good to see you. And you literally see each other in passing. Yeah. But there are people, like there's a young lady who was in gospel choir with us, and she went to Spelman. She's a Delta. But I was closer to her than Asha was, right? And again, nothing ever happened between me and this young lady, but I was friends with her before Ashley even joined the choir, right? I think I met her my freshman year, and Ashley didn't join the choir till like sophomore year or something. So, and I think she graduated freshman year, so whatever. I'm saying all that to say, when I found out she was gonna be in town, I said, hey, sis, we gotta get a pic. So when I saw her, we took a pic together. So again, the confidence of that, you know what I'm saying, not being insecure. Asha knew it didn't mean anything, but it was still that feeling of like, she's just standing over there watching us get a picture. And I don't ever ask Asha to take a picture. I've had the other people ask Asha. And I'd be like, sometimes I'd be like, nah, man, hey, can you take this picture? Because like, I don't want to, I'm sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say there is something about when I don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
And that's the part. And I think that's what I want to make clear. So it's not about, I just want to, because me and Ashley have a relationship to where I go out with my friends all the time, you know what I'm saying, without her. So that's not the thing. But there's a freedom of, I don't, like you said, it ain't babysitting, but it's quasi is, because it's like, I want to make sure you're good. I want to make sure you're not offended. I want to make sure you know who this person is. Let me explain that. Let me do this. So I'm doing more of that than I am
in the moment.
Which is why I said in the beginning, I go to the new tent first. So I can get that out the way. And I ain't got to worry about my friends feeling like they don't belong or this ain't their space. I can go and do what I might got to do with that and then enjoy the rest of the entire home. Because most of the time, too, a lot of them nukes going to go back to the tent, but they going to venture out and walk around, too. You see what I'm saying? So it's like everybody going to want that. Because, you at the new tent, but we went to more house. Right? So you might step out there 2011. And then when I go to the 2011 tent, because sometimes the class have tents, so that gets even more awkward because them are our people. And Asha and she knew a couple of swimming women virtual choir stuff, but after she see them people and a couple of other Morehouse people who like, we can cross register. So she knew some people who like cross register, but it's like, but Asha is really that girl that's like, if we ain't friends, it's gonna be a hi and goodbye. I may be like, "How you doing? How's your family? I saw you got
Catch
a,"
up.
but because it's homecoming, it's almost like when you see that cousin you never talk to. You
Yeah.
never talk to him, but that's your cousin.
Yeah.
So like it's the same thing. Like this one, I don't really talk to him, but it's my brother. That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
sister. So I want to know. I want to get in your business for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah. I
And
get
you
it.
know what I'm saying? And I want to sit there for 24 minutes or whatever, or whenever that conversation naturally fades away.
Mhm.
So yeah, I will say that. So I think my advice to people who have spouses who either didn't attend the same HBCU as you or didn't attend the HBCU at all is to have those honest conversations and be honest and transparent about the why, right? Because I
Yeah.
think so many people equate it to like infidelity, and I don't think that that's the case for most couples who
No.
have that dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So like if Ashley went to Spelman, it'll kind of be like a non-negotiable. But I feel like she went to Spelman, we would naturally split up because that would be tense thing that she would want to do.
Yeah.
But because she didn't, she's with me the entire. She's what I'm saying, by my side, which is fine. And I think the reason why she comes or has come in the past is that Ashley enjoys homecoming.
Yeah.
So she wants to be out there navigating it, and she just navigated with me. And I've never had like any qualms. I ain't never told her, let me go by myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But this year, it just kind of worked out that way because of football. And so last year, because here's the thing with me, I've never been to a Clark Atlanta homecoming on purpose. Well, when I say on purpose, I mean in the years that it wasn't on the same day. I never went, because I saw, like, speaking of our boy John Campbell, friend, and real life friend of the podcast, he was at Clark's homecoming this last weekend. He was just out there. And I'm pretty sure I could go. And you know what I'm saying? Like your line brother, John was there. I could have met him with some folks and had a great time.
Yeah, Walt was there.
Yeah, but Walter went to home.
And he ain't go nowhere in the AUC.
Yeah. Who?
I would say Walter.
Walter got his master's from Clark.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're right. My trip.
Yeah, but that goes to your point about your master's thing. Like people, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I could have went. Something about homecoming for me feels like going home. And I don't have that same deep connection to Clark in that way. It don't mean that I wouldn't go. I probably have an amazing time because I know people. But I just haven't had that desire. And Ashley, she be like, give or take, she could like, you know, with Clark's homecoming. And I don't ever force her. Last year, I low-key did force her. I was like, babe, go to homecoming.
Yeah.
And she went, and I went to the game, held her down. She did. Her, Charmaine went. And she actually met Jackie in person for the first time.
That's what's up.
And stuff like that. So like, yeah. So, and Ashley's a much more extroverted is a strong word. She's not as introverted these days either. Mainly because of AKA. Like it allowed her to open up a little bit more. But she's still that Ashley at her core. Yeah. So it's just it is definitely additional work, for lack of a better word, when she's there because of all the different pieces that have to be navigated. So
makes sense. Makes sense. Speaking of, you said pieces, you said tents, you said games, you said we talked about Rocksteady and stuff like that. Homecoming can be it's a process, it's an experience. You're not 25-year-old Joshua when you first got out. You're big 35 at this point.
Big 35.
Big 35. So how do you survive? How do you navigate? What are some things that you do to, you know, for lack of a better word, pace yourself?
Yeah.
To go to all the things I mentioned earlier. I mentioned the process. The whole it's a Thursday to during Sunday. Sometimes Monday, you gotta go back and work on Monday. Like, what does that look like to you?
So I don't ever do anything on Sunday or so crazy on Saturday where I need to like be off work Monday. Let's start there. And that could be by virtue of who I am in the Lord, because I'm still sanctified. So there's just some experiences to that level I'm just not gonna have. But it don't mean that I ain't gonna have a really good time. Yeah. The other part of me is that I could start on a Thursday, but because I am big 3-5 and I got kids in sports and I live in Cobb County, it don't start for me until maybe Friday night.
Okay.
So, but I have been when I worked downtown though, I used to dress a certain way and hit up, you know, maybe a alumni mixer or something right after work. Like I have done that, but I don't have. But that was mainly because of proximity. Boys were younger, so wasn't no sports games and stuff like that. And the Tadeo thing. So I would say if you're going, because I have done it before. So let me give you this piece of advice. I would say literally figure out what your pace is. Yeah. So for me, it would be a chill alumni mixer Thursday night. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like a Rocksteady or a holiday bar, something that's going to be real low key where you know the alarm is going to be at and things like that. Friday, if you're into it, you can literally be gone all day because I saw a day party that's from 12 to 9 on Friday. And then the next party starts from 10 to 3.
Jesus.
So quite literally, like, you can literally your whole day. And then people will be back up Saturday morning doing it all over again. So it really just depends on what you want to get into. And then not only if they're just party, sometimes there are still more traditional, if partying ain't your vibe, there are still more traditional mixers and meetups. I've seen friend groups get together because somebody came from out of town. They hosting something at the Airbnb.
Yeah.
And they all getting together. So you just have to build out what that schedule is based on your work schedule, based on your entertainment. So like, I got my workday plan, but I'm also getting my hair braided, my haircut, and my manicure Friday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of beauty prep for me. So even if I want to do something like during the day, that's when I'm getting all my stuff done. And my haircut's at 6.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then Josh has like this 8th grade band night. So I told Ashley I may not come to the band night because my haircut's I told her because my barber's in Midtown. Yeah. So if I'm already downtown, and somebody hit my line, be like, where you at? Be like, hey, where you at? Because I'm already down here, right? So it's low-hanging fruit. But again, that don't mean I'm going to do nothing crazy, but I may link up with some folk who out of, like Devin, my mentee. We 10 years apart, but he's my mentee, and he still went to Morehouse. So if he's like in the city, I may be like, where you at? Let's get something to eat before I go back to my side of town. You know, so it could be a number of things. I will say, though, it's like, especially tailgate is where I think the most damage can be done. Because if you're really out there, that means you would have been partying Thursday, you've been partying all day, all night Friday. And you're going to get out there and you're going to have all this liquor, all this stuff. Yeah. You need to do what it takes to make sure that you're not hungover, you're not belligerent. We're too grown to be belligerent, to be passing out, to be doing all that kind of stuff. So if you drink alcohol, have you some water. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Eat that greasy chicken. Right? We know what the greasy food do. You know what I'm saying? Bring you some milk thistle that supports liver function, right? Like bring you the liquid IV so you can be extra hydrated. Like really think through how you're going to make it. It don't mean that you won't still experience some form of drunkenness because you are drinking alcohol. Yeah. What I am telling you though is be responsible in what you're doing. So that way you're not struggling Monday morning. You might not even be struggling Sunday. And if you're my big age, if you are going to do it, like, even though I'm not going to have that particular experience Saturday, if you want me to go out, I'm going to need to go home. Now, this is why I know you will get me. Let me go home and take a nap. Because if I promise you I'm going to come back out, I ain't going to break my word. Yeah. But let me go home and nap, get a fresh shower, and come back out refreshed. And I ain't going to be out past like midnight because I'm tired. I got to go to church in the morning. Yeah. And I ain't doing no brunch because it's over me. So Sunday going to straight up be, I don't even call it recovery, but definitely a day of rest. Yeah. So I say figure out what recovery and pace looks like for you. But I would definitely say overhydrate, make sure you're eating, and be responsible and safe. Those are my top 3. And at this big age, we know what safe and responsible means, right?